decades, many African nations have been bound to a financial system imposed by their former colonial master France. This is a system known as the CFA franc, has long served as a tool for European powers to maintain control of African economies. However, a new wave of leadership is rising, determined to save these lingering ties established through financial sovereignty. Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso have taken a bold stance against the continued dominance of the CFA franc. These nations are foreign a new economic path, free from the constraints imposed by the foreign interests. This marks a historic movement of their work to build a currency system that prioritizes their own economic interests rather than those of their former colonizers. In this context, Burkina Faso, under the leadership of President IBRAHIM Traoré, has taken significant steps towards financial independence by introducing a new colonial national currency, the CIRA, and establishing a treasury deposit bank. These initiatives mark a decisive break from the colonial financial structures that have long hindered the region's progress. The CFA franc, introduced by France on December 26, 1945, was designed to integrate African economies under the French control even after gaining a political independence. Many African nations continue to use this currency, allowing France to retain financial dominance. The system required African nations to deposit a substantial portion of their own foreign reserves into French marks, restricting their ability to manage their own monetary policies. This arrangement ensured that France maintained economic leverage over its former colonies, effectively dictating financial conditions across the country. The flaws of the CFA franc have been widely criticized. Countries using it are unable to set their own currency rates, value their currency when needed, or make independent financial decisions without France's approval. Additionally, because of the CFA is patched into the euro, it artificially inflates the cost of African exports, making less competitive on their global market. This has stifled industry's growth, leaving these nations in dependence on raw materials export rather than developing their own industries. Recognizing this constraints, Burkina Faso has positioned itself at the forefront of the movement to reclaim financial independence. President IBRAHIM Traoré has not only withdrawn from the ECOWAS, a bloc perceived as being under the strong French influence, but he has also championed economic reforms that include the launch of the CIRA. Unlike the CFA, the CIRA is fully controlled by Burkina Faso, allowing the country to set its own monetary policies to regulate inflation and promote local industry without external interference. To support this shift, the newly created Treasury Deposit Bank will safeguard the country's financial reserves, eliminating the requirement to deposit funds in French-controlled banks. This ensures that the nation's wealth remains within its borders, reinforcing economic sovereignty. Although the establishment of new currency is a critical step towards financial liberation, it is not without risks. Transitioning from the CFA to the CIRA requires a development of a stable monetary system, proper regulatory fireworks towards the mechanism to manage this system. Any mistakes in the transition could lead to economic instability, including inflation and fluctuations in market confidence. Additionally, Western powers, particularly France, may impose economic sanctions or diplomatic pressures to discourage such financial independence. Despite these challenges, the resolve of Burkina Faso and its allies remains strong. The leaders of Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso view their economic emancipation as a necessary step towards true sovereignty. Their defiance has already inspired widespread discussion across the continent, with other African nations questioning their continued reliance on the CFA franc. If successful, Burkina Faso reforms could set up a precedent of other former French colonies seeking to break free from the economic independence. The shift has already broader implications beyond Africa's foreign alliances, with non-Western nations including Venezuela and Russia Burkina Faso is positioned itself with a new geopolitical framework. These partnerships could lead to increased investment in key industries, military cooperations, and technological advancements. However, they also come with their own complexities, as aligning with anti-imperialist movements may strain relations with Western powers and international financial institutions. As Burkina Faso moves forward with these economic reforms, it must carefully navigate internal external pressures. This successful of the Sierra currency and the Treasury Deposit Bank will depend on the strategic planning, economic reliance, and diplomatic agility. While the path ahead is uncertain, one thing is clear. Burkina Faso is determined to carve out of its own future, free from the constraints of neocolonial financial systems. Whether this bold gamble will pay off remains to be seen, but is a suddenly pivotal moment in the nation. The impact of the decision will be felt across Africa. If Burkina Faso successfully establishes financial independence, other nations may follow suit, triggering the border movement towards economic self-determination. The end of the CFA franc dominance could mark the beginning of the new era where African nations control their own financial destinies. With the introduction of CERA and the establishment of National Treasury, President Traore has sent a clear message. Burkina Faso will no longer be bound by outdated systems. They prioritize foreign interests over its own land. The journey ahead may be challenging, but it's one fueled by vision, independence, prosperity, and national pride. Ibrahim Traore's decision to introduce the Sierra currency placed him in a precious position. Much like other African leaders who have attempted to break away from the Western-controlled financial systems, the introduction of CERA is not just an economic move, it's a direct challenge to the global order that has long kept African nations economically independent. By establishing an independent currency and creating Treasury Deposit Bank, Traore is signaling Burkina Faso's intent to reclaim its financial sovereignty, a move that history has shown to be dangerous for those who dare. A striking parallel can be drawn between Traore's bold economic reforms and the fate of Libya's Muammar Gadafi, who sought to introduce the gold-backed dinar as unified African currency. Gaddafi's vision aimed to free African nations from the dominance of the US dollar and the euro by creating a currency that was truly independent and hacked by Libya's vast gold reserves. This would have allowed African countries to trade the resources without relying on Western financial institutions, threatening the economic stranglehold that West maintained over the continent. However, this ambition was met with extreme oppositions. Shortly after pushing for the gold dinar, Gaddafi was overthrown and assassinated in 2011 following a NATO-led intervention, a move that many believe was orchestrated to prevent emergency of financial independence Africa. The pattern of Western interference against leaders who resist financial subjection is not now. Thomas Sankara, Burkina Faso's unraveling leader, was assassinated in 1987. After challenging the neocolonial structures imposed on African countries, Sankara called for economic independence, self-reliance, and the other rejection of debt as a tool of Western control. His radical ideas made him a target, and he was eliminated under circumstances widely believed to have been influenced by external powers. Similarly, Patrice Lumumba of the Democratic Republic of Congo faced a brutal end in 1961 after attempting to assert control over his nation's vast mineral wealth, threatening Western economic interests. More recently, John Magufuli of Tanzania also faced backlash for his policies and aimed to reduce foreign influence. While this hidden death in 2021 was officially attributed to natural cause, many suspect foul play, given his defiance of international financial institutions and his push for national economic independence. These instances highlight a recruiting pattern where African leaders would attempt to break away from Western-controlled financial systems, often face direct consequences. Ibrahim Traore's decision to introduce CERA puts him in a same category of defiant leaders who have historically been viewed threats global financial systems by taking control of Burkina Faso's monetary policy and removing French influence over its economy. He is challenging powerful interests that even long benefited from Africa's financial dependence. The risks his face of significant of history has shown that leaders who attempt to dismantle these systems often pay ultimate price. However, the determination of Burkina Faso's leadership and its grown alliance suggests that the struggle for the true economic independence is from now over. The question remains, will Traore succeed where others have fallen? Or will history repeat itself once again? Tell us what you think on the comment section below.